Developing tonight, radio star Howard Stern offering an impassioned response to those calling for stricter gun laws in the wake of the atrocity in Orlando.
I'm so upset about Orlando and what went down, but I can't believe these people who come out afterwards and their answer to Orlando is to take away guns from the public. It's fucking mind-blowing to me. The terrorists all had AR-15s, they have Glocks, they have every kind of pistol.
They got missile launchers.
They got missile launchers. And so now let's use the analogy of sheep. Why would the sheep say, oh, we've got an answer to all the terrorism, all these bad wolves that are coming after us? We'll hand in all our guns. We're going to hand them in. I think the answer doesn't lie in taking any kind of ability of the sheep to protect themselves from the wolves.
Dana Lash is host of Dana on the Blaze TV. Nomiki Konst is host of The Filter on Sirius XM. So let me start with you, Nomiki. That's the thing. Let me just put up this cartoon, which sort of says what Stern was trying to say. These three cartoons. This is the point people have been making all along. Can't you read? This is a gun-free zone. The guy is saying to the terrorist, dang, now what do we do? The two terrorists say as they see the gun-free zone. The point is, who's going to be respectful of the gun-free zone laws other than the law-abiding citizens?
There's been tremendous research behind this. The FBI famously published a report on this, and it stated that 3%, in only 3% of the cases where the good guy with a gun goes after an active shooter, they actually hit that guy. And it's usually somebody who has tremendous background and training in active shooter
shootings. But you know the response to
that.
If you were in that bathroom that night and that shooter was in there with his guns, you would have preferred to have been armed.
So generally what happens is it's more often than not that somebody who attacks the shooter physically with an object, something large, actually gets it. And that's because of stress. You know, your eyes and you're under stress. Humans are incapable of hitting a target. They're more likely to hit somebody else. And that's the FBI's own research. I mean, that's their study.
Yeah, I have a different conclusion based on the super expensive report that Barack Obama commissioned in 2013 that talked about defensive gun use. And in fact, the CDC determined that concealed carry and firearms, it's a great deterrent to crime. I tell you what, I want to have a fighting chance because criminals don't pay attention to gun-free zones. And Megan, Howard Stern, it's almost like I just became best friends with Howard Stern right there. It's like a stepbrothers thing.
I think he read your book.
He's so right.
So one more thing to note
the
about
thing
that.
is, like, okay, so the studies are great, but like then you're kind of looking at Dana and saying, you know, our studies trump your needs and your belief about what's best for yourself. Give us your gun.
Well, it's not about giving us your gun. It's about expanding background checks. You know. No, Dana, it's not. No one's saying.
Yes, it is. You're talking about banning the AR-15 by calling it a weapon of war and conflating it with an M16 or an M4. No, it's not. Because
Dana, hang on. Give me a second, Dana.
Let's answer that. We're short on time tonight, but Dana, why does the AR-15 and guns like that? Why do those need to be out there?
Yeah.
Well, the AR-15 it's a 22. I mean, if you're going to actually in fact, if I was actually going to go after a bad guy in my house, I'm not going to grab my AR-15. I'm going to grab my shotgun or I'm going to grab my Glock. I'm going to grab something a little bit more serious.
So why have them? They're killing machines.
Women, this is a war on women because the AR-15 is the most popular rifle with women. You're talking about disarming women, and you're talking about misidentifying.
Dana, it's very simple.
And
let me say one thing, Dana.
Because you're just going to spit some more blue.
No, Dana, one thing.
They're so good. I apologize to the audience.
I'm so upset about Orlando and what went down, but I can't believe these people who come out afterwards and their answer to Orlando is to take away guns from the public. It's fucking mind-blowing to me. The terrorists all had AR-15s, they have Glocks, they have every kind of pistol.
They got missile launchers.
They got missile launchers. And so now let's use the analogy of sheep. Why would the sheep say, oh, we've got an answer to all the terrorism, all these bad wolves that are coming after us? We'll hand in all our guns. We're going to hand them in. I think the answer doesn't lie in taking any kind of ability of the sheep to protect themselves from the wolves.
Dana Lash is host of Dana on the Blaze.
Kinky thing you're into here?
We were talking about Sarah Palin, and that's one of the big changes, the whole business of the Tea Party. And she backed 43 candidates for the House. 30 of them won. In the Senate, she endorsed 12, 7 won. She now says that she will run if nobody else will. Do you think she would make a good president?
Well, first of all, she's not going to have that situation that nobody else will.
That's right. But let's say she
I ain't never heard of that. Nobody will run for president of the United States. There are people now registering Republican in order to line up to run.
Okay, what about her?
The field is gigantic.
Joy said that she's scared that
And the
Sarah
audience
Palin.
clapped when I said I was scared.
I know. Nothing to be
That's
scared.
okay.
Let the American people decide.
Shaking.
There was an article in Politico a couple of days before the election, and this was mostly Republicans and the cowardly ones, who don't speak for attribution. And they are very afraid that Sarah Palin is going to run and going to do everything he can to stop her. They may have even said destroy her. These are Republicans saying that.
Yes.
And how about letting the Republican Party decide? Let her run. If she's as bad as you think, she'll lose. If she can really make her case, she will win.
So do you think she actually has a case? What
Yeah,
is
sure
the
she
case?
does.
I would like to know what it is.
I don't want to get you all, down on me, but the reality is she's got a hell of a lot more qualifications than Barack Obama had when he ran for president. Let me explain to you why.
Sometimes our hosts walk out. Say this again, our audience will walk out.
Well, your audience is suffering from something that the president may be suffering from, and that is the inability to see the rest of America from having a warped view in New York.
They're not all from New York.
They're not all from New York. Do you know what happened? Do you know what?
I'm used to getting booed.
Do you know what happened yesterday? Do you have any idea what the rest of your citizens told you yesterday? Do you have any idea of the dimension of it? Over 60 seats in the House of Representatives. It was a single message election. Obama has taken us in the wrong direction. Obamacare is a disaster. Our health insurance is going up, and you're taking away private medicine
Health
from
insurance,
us.
everybody's blaming that on Obama, that the health insurance premiums are going up right now.
He passed a bill that was insane. The bill. I am an expert on health care. Okay. I ran the second largest hospital system in this country for 8 years and got it out of debt.
Okay, we want to get
How many do we have left? We have all. How many do we have left?
Quite a few of those hospitals, sir, and I have a great deal of respect for you. But I have to say, no, they're not. St. Vincent's is gone.
I didn't run St. Vincent's. Send to the private hospital. Now, how about we talk about the facts? I ran 17 hospitals.
Yeah, but we want to get to other things.
They all are in existence. I took them from a position of being unaccredited to every single one of them was accredited. And the reality is, as an expert on health care, having run those hospitals, this bill is a disaster.
Okay, I want to ask you.
It's a disaster.
Because we want to get to the threat.
65% of the American people agree with me. The president doesn't get it.
Okay.
That was a response. That number isn't made up.
You don't get it.
Forget about change. Texas Congressman Ron Paul wants to give government a complete overhaul. And he says that the Obama administration is wrong about everything, from fixing the economy to war in the Middle East. And here to tell us if he wants to make things right as president in 2012 is the author of Liberty Defined, Congressman Ron Paul.
Thank you. Now, you did vote. You did run for president in 1998 and 2008, yes?
88.
88. I have 98 here.
88 and 08.
88 and 08. Okay. So there are rumors you're going to run again this time. Are you going to?
There. I heard about those rumors.
Did you start them?
No, I think my son did.
Rand Paul is his son, who is also.
No.
He does. I think he does a great job here.
Of course, there's been a lot of people ask, and there's temptation to do it, but I'll announce within a month.
Okay.
So say that's the case, and we will look forward to that. Governor Mitt Romney has announced Governor Mike Huckabee and Donald Trump are possible contenders too. What will it take for you to beat them in the primary if you choose to run as a Republican?
To get more votes.
Right?
I need more votes.
How do you plan to do that? They're saying right now it may be a great opportunity with the Republican Party.
I really think if the message gets out, we can do it. Take, for instance, the war issue. I take a position which is not the conventional issue for the Republicans.
Right.
But 70% of the American people are sick and tired of the war, and they want us to come home from Afghanistan.
You know who was here? Jesse Ventura was here, and he said if you run, he wants to be your running mate. Are you interested in having him do that?
Well, I haven't gotten that far yet, but I'd have to think about that. No, I don't think it's legal to offer a position, before you're nominated, so you got to be careful.
You have to be a little careful.
You mentioned running for president, but Rand Paul, your son, you mentioned Rand before, he wants to run also. You'll be running against your son. How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't think it's likely to happen.
No.
There's a little bit of discipline in the family.
Give him a good beating.
I have two questions for you. The first is, how would you get us out of the war? Because it seems to be an answer that has eluded everyone. How do we get out? That's what I mean. I would like to know, because I would like to get out, but I'd like to get out of all of the wars, because our kids are. But how? Do you have
I don't think it's complicated. Okay. How did we go in? We just marched in without permission, without a declaration of war. So a good president would just march home. They would just leave.
Well, to be fair to you, you said this about George Bush's war in Iraq also. You're very consistent.
Both parties are war parties. Let's face it. That's what we have to admit.
Why? Because it increases the economy?
Well, I don't know why. I don't know. It might even be a conspiracy, but it seems like the military-industrial complex controls both parties, because a lot of weapons are sold, and you always have to have an enemy. Think how many weapons have been sold already just bombing Libya. How many dollars do we have to spend getting more drones to drop bombs on Pakistan? But it's both parties. That's why the people have to wake up. If they're tired of war, and they will eventually get tired of war, they're getting that way.
We'll be
but it'll be financial. It'll be bankrupt. Most empires end when they go into a financial crisis, and we're in the middle. We're starting it. I mean, we've had the bursting of the financial bubble. Now we're about to go into a dollar crisis.
We ran through a lot of dough before this guy took office. We ran through a lot of money on all these wars. But I want to ask you about something else, because you're not a big fan of federal funding for Planned Parenthood. And I'm curious, so you don't want to get rid of Planned Parenthood, you just want to get rid of the idea that federal money is going to them?
Well, I haven't even addressed that subject. Not too long ago, we had two votes on the floor. One was NPR versus getting out of Afghanistan, and all the conservatives voted, of course, to spend billions and billions on Afghanistan, but they wanted to teach a lesson that we have to vote against NPR, and they would use the same tool. Planned Parenthood. No, I don't support Planned Parenthood, because I don't support most programs because most programs are, as far as I'm concerned, technically unconstitutional. Unless I see the authority there, I address it like I address the war issue. Don't go to war unless it's a declared war, and the president can't do it without getting permission.
What's unconstitutional about Planned Parenthood in your mind, just to be clear for our viewers?
What's unconstitutional? Well, I look to Article 1, Section 8, and I look for my authority, and if it's not there, I don't do it. And that's why I have to vote no a lot, because there's not much there.
You also don't believe that medical care is a right. Now, as a gynecologist, you're a doctor. How do you justify that sort of feeling like not every American deserves the right to good medical care?
You don't have a right to things and services. You have a right to your life. You have a right to your liberty.
Yeah.
And if you want good medical care, or if you want a healthy economy, you have to have a free market economy with sound money and good contract laws, and then there'll be great prosperity. But we have a system of corporatism now, where business and governments are partners, and they rip us off, whether it's the military-industrial complex. In medicine today, both parties promote a form of medicine delivered by corporations, big drug companies, insurance companies, and that's why we have lousy care.
So what do poor people do who have nothing? I mean, because it's,
it is. And I'm truly compassionate about that, but I truly believe that they're more likely to get taken care of than have the bankruptcy of Medicaid and Medicare, which we're going to have, and we're not going to have care for anybody.
But I practice people?
The poor, everybody's going to be poor. Nobody's going to get Medicare at the dollar.
But right now, I'm talking about right now.
Right now, well, we're leading to this problem. But I practiced medicine at a time when we had no Medicare and no Medicaid. And I worked in a Catholic hospital. I worked for $3. I know, but the principle is important. I worked for $3 an hour, and I was satisfied. Nobody was turned away, but the church took care of them.
But when you don't have those services now, because it's wonderful. You're applauding old America, the idea that no one was turned away. If we could get back to that, would it make it a little bit easier, you think?
It's the opposite. Now, when you go to the emergency...
No, I know.
Well, it's the system.
We're paying for the emergency room,
It's the
right?
system. You go to the emergency room, and if you don't have insurance, you're immediately signed up, and you're always charged the most. When I practiced early, you were always charged the least, and you help people. But now you charge the most.
Just one more thing before we go. I know we have to wrap. What do you think about this birther obsession with Donald Trump and the birthers?
I don't know. I understand he has sent out some detectives to find out. Yeah, I haven't invested in any of that, so I guess I'll have to wait and see what he does.
He's going to have to exhume Don Ho.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
no. Yeah, I guess he was desperate for an audience, and he got his audience.